Could it be that we are collectively getting closer to enlightenment? That's a question that popped up in my head after recording the last video. Because I read a comment. It was about the egg theory. It assumed that I'm talking about the egg theory, which I was not, because I was thinking about everybody having his own unique soul, aka being his own unique soul. But maybe those theories have something in common, which is maybe mankind is collectively getting closer to that state of enlightenment. In the egg theory, it would be to turn into that one entity at the end. In this case, it would be to transform into a higher dimensional being or some shit like that. So, if we go back in time, if we look at our ancestors at the early days of humankind, I would argue that we were pretty primitive. We were very much instinct driven, and I would even say that we were closer to animals than we were to today. Then what am I even saying? We were closer to animals than we were close to today's humans. Now, that's just what we know. Like, maybe in the past those people had things we can't even imagine anymore. Maybe they were way more advanced into another direction. I have no clue. I just know what the public knows, what everybody knows. And from my knowledge, they were pretty primitive. So over the years, people evolved. I mean, that's normal. If the more people evolve, the more other people evolve too, because they get to use the same new advancements if they connect or whatever. That's normal. But what if it's also like not just the evolutionary level, but also the spiritual level, aka the level to get closer to enlightenment, the scale of the vibration? One contradiction to that would be that the people back then, they were very, very bound to nature. They were very close to nature and didn't give a fuck about material stuff. At least I would argue that. And if you look at people today, oh yeah, they're fucking addicted to the material. They're very like today's society, people find material stuff very important for some reason. But the other thing that happened is that we are also the most compassionate and empathetic, not pathetic, but empathetic people that ever existed here on Earth. Even if it might not look like it, if you look, because like the media tries to convince you otherwise. If you go online, you will get spammed. You will you will get fucking floated with drama. Why? Yeah, because drama is polarizing. People like to see drama, so that's all they show. Of course, there's also a lot of wholesome stuff in the internet, but drama gets the most attention. The negative, the fucked up shit gets the most attention. But in total, we are the most compassionate, and also we have the biggest paradise we ever had on Earth. Because back in the day, they had to hunt their food, they had to hustle every single day. Now, yes, in today's world, we are also forced to work, but I think we are in a state of transition. That's why it's not so clear. You know, every state of transition is always very uncertain, but just look at it like this. At the start of humankind, imagine it metaphorically, it's like standing in front of a window. And on the other, no, not a window, standing in front of a fence. On the other side of the fence, there is your goal. There's the place you want to go, exactly that point. But in front of you is a fucking fence. You can't go through it. What do you do then? In order to get there, you first have to move away from that fence, far away from it, find another entry, walk around, and then you can return to this place. So maybe our transition is like that. In order to get to that point, we first kind of had to move away from it. That would explain the direction we are heading right now. Because nowadays, it seems like people are moving away from spirituality and moving more towards technology, science, all that stuff. Me personally, I'm a big fan of science and technology, but let's get there in a second. So, actually, let's get there now. The fuck. So, what if in this state of transition, at some point there will be a turnaround, and it will get back to the point we were looking at from the other side of the fence. So let's imagine it like this: spirituality and science and technology, at some point they move together again and they align with each other. Maybe that's the point. Maybe that's the important thing, to step even further on the scale. That would be the case if we would get closer to enlightenment collectively. If that's the case, that would be the scenario where transhumanism can't even talk, where transhumanism would come into play. Now, many people will disagree with me on this one, and I'm not saying this is the case, but I'm just saying, if we are collectively getting to enlightenment, then I think this is part of it. Because whoever created this, or whatever the sense behind all of this is, I don't think it left out technology and science. I don't think it decided and chose that to be an opposite of spirituality. I think everything connects with each other at some point. So in my opinion, all the evolution at some point will come together again. Just imagine if, to get to enlightenment, we first have to create a paradise here on Earth. Once we experienced all the range of experiences, from the bottom, from the worst to the highest, until the point where we built a paradise here on Earth, that's the level where after that we can transition into an even higher state, maybe the higher dimensional being state. I mean, once we start transhumanism, once we transform from humans into cyborgs or whatever, like through technology and all that, even that, I would say it's kind of a transition into a higher state of being, because these technologies and this way of science will probably allow us to have a higher, or how could you say, like, it will probably bring us onto a higher consciousness level, into a higher level of consciousness, if it goes well. If you're super intelligent, if you're superhuman, and I'm not just talking about power, but superhuman in terms of being able to understand maybe that's the point where we will understand more about our existence and all that. So that's one scenario. If we are collectively getting closer to that point of enlightenment, and where everything is tied to each other and everything has its sense in this world, even if it might not be obvious right now. Or it's the other scenario where uh, technology and science and all that is the antagonist and is the opposite of the spiritual and the belief or religion or whatever you call it. But that's a scenario I want to talk about in another video. It's also interesting and I don't believe in it, but it's, yeah, it's interesting. I'm also not saying that I believe this, but as I said, if we are collectively getting there, then in my opinion, all of this would align. Now, my question is, what the hell do you think? The fuck do you think? I'm really curious what you think about this. And all I know in the end, like, I didn't come to a conclusion when it comes to this. I don't know if people back in the day were more when that they were further, or that, or if some individual beings already reached enlightenment or not, or whatever. Like, if you look at people, there are many people who seem way further than others, and some people seem way back than others. They seem some people still seem like as if they were coming from a stone age. Many brutal, evil, disgusting people. I mean, I don't think that they are close to enlightenment or any of that shit. And if you look at the monk, on the other hand, those people seem as if they were already close to that level. But, you know, there are many contradictions, and yeah. And by the way, to all the science guys out there, I love science, but this topic here, you can say I'm pulling this out of my ass. I don't give a shit. Maybe I'm doing that, but I just love to explore all the aspects of things, especially the more obscure it is, the better. I just love to dive into the unknown, and I just love to dive into the unknown and to truly express my curiosity for everything. From science to tech to spirituality to obscure, pulled out of my ass thoughts. I don't give a shit. I just love to explore it. I'm a fucking explorer, that's it. And all I know is that I didn't come to a conclusion regarding all this. But what I know is that I will definitely continue following my heart, continue trying to experience the things my heart truly craves, being a good person, yeah, and doing whatever the fuck I want. See ya.